My impressions afforded me this information, and that I would literally be taken out of this current position in this timeline and placed back in a position in my timeline, but in 2016. And had I not thwarted this effort, I knew this would have been so. Interestingly, 2016 was was the year before I found the new presentation, before I would sing the new you for the first time and make my initial connection to the true reality and my real awareness, when I was very much locked into my personal created self only, and self-convinced about my state of created consciousness as it was. Perhaps it was their intention to place my awareness in this time prior to beginning my process of ears recognition and connection, and that consequently it would be as though I was placed into a position where effectively I would have done none of what I had from 2016 to this present time, almost like running back the DVD movie to a point before the main character began his adventures and journeys. Perhaps they believed that to do so would be a new, inventive way of stopping my process of awareness, my superseding creation, and sharing with others this opportunity, etc. And while back in that position of having no connection with my real awareness, perhaps all the easier to eliminate me, as protection is automatic from the real guides, and our real awareness allows us to better handle all situations. And if we are attacked as new students, the attackers can expect instant karmic backlash that they must deal with. For it's very possible that back in 2016 I would follow the same lines again. I would simply find the new presentation and go along the same process, as the effects, the experience of doing so, of finding the presentation, was already set in motion by the causes, the decisions that had taken me to that point. So maybe the dark forces would eliminate me at that point before I would begin my process of awareness again, made easier by the absence of the guides and awareness protection. Assuming I would in some way facilitate their attack by the actions and causes I was setting in motion, the window of attack opportunity through the causes we provide, attacks more likely instigated against those they are fairly certain will begin the process of awareness, we must remember that the dark forces and these entities see so far, but lack the connection to their real awareness that allows them to see beyond their literal consideration of things. Yes, they may understand cause and effect creation to an extent, agreements to their ideas being required for the exacting of their wants, etc., but they are predominantly physical astral and cannot see the full picture that their real awareness, if connected to, would provide. By their reckoning then, taking an individual and placing it in the same physical vehicle, but in an earlier part of the individual's timeline, is akin to running back the DVD, and the individual will effectively have lost everything beyond the point to which they were returned. This indeed would be so, but only from a personal created self-perspective. If someone's locked into their created self only, then yes, they can only be and see according to the decided consciousness of their creation. They cannot see beyond themselves. So moving an individual through time in this way would have the effect these entities or dark forces desired, as the created personal self can only be at one point on the DVD, and the subsequent cause and effect scenes that are to follow would be unknown. Taking an individual from 2020 to 2016, and they would have no accessible information beyond 2016. What they fail to appreciate is the real awareness, a real awareness that is beyond creation, that is, and therefore can perceive everything in its entirety, including the entirety of creation, from the true reality it views from. For the real self, it would not be limited to 2016 if its created personal self found itself returned there. The real self can see the entire DVD timeline and every other lifetime of its created self as well. Even though I evaded this attempt, it's my contention that the real awareness connection, which supersedes the limitations of time and space, cause and effect creation, may be maintained, that I may have found myself back in 2016, and my personal self would be limited consequently. It wouldn't have the stored references and knowledge of all it had literally learned throughout my time with the new presentation, but the connection may be maintained to the real universes. The personal self may not understand how it seems to have this connection, or what it is, as it would have no references to draw upon any more. So maybe it's possible the personal self could dismiss these notions and sense of connection that seem to be there suddenly, and effectively be back at point zero once again. But then, and assuming I wasn't eliminated, and maybe I wouldn't be if this connection was there, even though the personal self didn't understand what was going on, I am likely to find the new presentation again, and maybe have a far more accelerated process than I did before this time displacement. A little like how, when Dwayne returned this lifetime, and even though he had been taken through the life levels and been given the knowledge in his previous lifetime, his personal self had to be shown again, but the process far accelerated due to him having been through it as Goldie. Not entirely the same, though, as the two lifetimes featured sequentially, and even though the personal self may have forgotten, the knowledge, references, and adventures were stored in the causal memory body. So it's difficult to surmise what might happen if this actually occurred. This removed from time and positioned further back in one's personal timeline. It would depend on the personal self, I suppose. So I would chalk this experience up to a warning and heads up. These entities and dark forces are very real, and their objective is to keep us all in creation and have us decide to forfeit our journeys of recognizing and standing with the ears, because we are always the decider, and they can do nothing unless we allow them, or agree with their ideas of distraction. And yes, we will set ourselves up for attacks as we go about our process. Our activities in creation always cause effects that are windows of opportunity for the dark forces, who are forever watching the new friends. And it seems now they are attempting attacks of this nature to possibly displace individuals on their process of awareness through time, in an attempt to bring an end to their journeys. But it seems that even if we have agreed with the ideas in some shape or form that facilitate such attacks of this nature, we can always decide differently, and we can see how my choice to sing the New You song and decide to not acquiesce to their scheme, even at the moment where I had affected the experience, through the agreement to it, it was not so, and here I still am, and not back in 2016. That's the end of that one. Yeah, so I'm not sure if that's actually a possibility, if they can take people and displace them through time, but as I said, it does seem that they're attempting to do such, as the experience I've just recounted, but always the new song keeps them at bay, so keep that in mind, everyone.
They're already doing it. Just shows you what they're doing. So again, until everybody wants to face their agreements, it's going to keep happening. And anything in the future is just that. It can be altered, but right now it's you're seeing what you do. You're seeing an aspect of it, but it can be altered according to free will. No one has to go along with any of it. But it's you know, again, it's showing the routines. All predictions do is show the routines, the cause and effect routines that people have decided. That's all. And they can decide differently at any moment.